So 2025 is coming to a close. That means it's time for me to share with you guys my picks for my favourite movies of the year. Now, a couple of caveats. There are a couple of movies this year that I really wanted to see, but just didn't get around to seeing. Life just gets in the way sometimes. And there are several movies that I've seen in a lot of other people's lists that I can't include in my list because they don't release in my country until 2026. Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Surat, and The Testament of Anne Lee all released in other countries in 2025, but I can't see them in my country until 2026. So for me, they're 2026 movies. But as of the movies that did make my list, this was a really solid year for movies. There was a massive chunk of movies this year that I really loved. Let me share with you guys my picks for my favourite 10 movies of 2025. But before we get started, I just have to share some honourable mentions. These are films that I love, but didn't quite make the list. These include Companion, a really great genre blender, F1, a true classic summer blockbuster, Sinners, a truly unique film about vampires and music, and Thunderbolts, Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad. I loved all these films, but they weren't quite as great as these next 10 films. Probably the biggest surprise of the entire year. To just give you some context here, up until now I had never seen a Final Destination film, but I heard that this one was good, so I thought, why not give this franchise a try? And I'm so glad I did. I know it's not high art cinema, but man, was Final Destination Bloodlines an absolute blast to watch. The cast of characters was so much fun to be around. I didn't want to watch them die, even though the carnage candy was just so great. I know the kills were all CGI, and I know that some people have taken issue with that, but that really didn't bother me because it very much played into the film's goofy tone. I couldn't stress to you just how much fun I had with this movie. Please check it out if you haven't. Just when we thought Disney had lost their touch, they came back with Zootopia 2, their best movie in years and easily my favourite animated film of the year. Packed with heart, emotion, a fun world and some great characters, I had a rip-roaring theatre experience. Just like its predecessor, this film is filled with a lot of heavy themes, but they're not heavy at the cost of coming across as preachy or egregious. They just feel seamlessly woven into the story in a way that's very accessible to everyone. And also, this movie has some awesome movie references to other films. They were just done in such a clever way that didn't feel forced or cringe, it just naturally worked into the film's story. And I love that about this film. Rian Johnson continues his murder mystery franchise with another smart whodunit. This time, Johnson utilises a church setting to tell a story about faith and its role in society, showing how when corrupted for personal benefit, surrounding individuals suffer. And it also shows how faith offers great benefit to those who use it properly. This is all interwoven into the movie's script to show how faith interplays in perspective, used brilliantly to decipher a murder mystery. Guillermo del Toro's masterful Catholic epic adaptation of Mary Shelley's classic text of The Monster Who Plays God was an enthralling watch. A beautiful period piece, Frankenstein was a powerful tragedy. Packed with an amazing cast elevated by an Oscar-worthy performance from Jacob Elordi, an awe-inspiring transformative visual design earning the title of the best-looking film of the year, and enthrallingly poetic dialogue, Frankenstein was a masterpiece. Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later was a wonderful film. What could have been a generic zombie movie, 28 years later was a thoughtful tale about a boy growing up in an estranged, disconnected world, enriched by gorgeous cinematography captured on an iPhone, adding a sense of gritty realism aligned to the movie's tone, an amazing set of characters, and a poetically captivating script that is able to illustrate the beauty out of something associated with death, a skull. Paul Thomas Anderson's postmodern masterpiece, One Battle After Another, is a brilliant look at our 2025 American culture. A haunting, realistic take on our world, this film is the work of a true auteur. Able of being cynical of our current climate, but also serving as a tale of optimism and hope for our future, but still remaining entertaining and accessible to the mainstream, One Battle After Another is more than truly deserving of its likely Oscars sweep. Probably the most misunderstood movie of the entire year, Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 is a film that I think, or at the very least hope, will gain a massive cult audience and be more appreciated in the future. A hilarious political satire, critical and cautious of modern politics, and the influence that it has in society, as well as being timely and observant towards rising global concerns foreseeing the likely problems of the future, Mickey 17 is a must-watch for all. I get it may be a little quirky for some, but that quirkiness is the exact reason why I love it so much. James Cameron continues to make the most thoughtful blockbusters of our time, and his third Avatar movie is no exception. A sweeping cinematic epic jam-packed with some of the most gorgeous visuals ever put to screen, following a family amidst conflict. A conflict of war interwoven with the mental ones that the characters face, which serve as powerful thematic explorations of dense complex subject matter. All of which showcase Cameron's versatility as a filmmaker for his effective mainstream presentation of these ideas. Most notably is his phenomenal portrayal of multiculturalism as a result of colonialism, and the necessity for progression in spite of the hardships that come from this damage. Also, this movie was very entertaining. Though I loved Weapons a lot, this is a really challenging movie to recommend, because a lot of people will be very much put off by the subject matter. A bunch of kids go missing and people are looking for them. This is not the kind of movie that even me, the person who is raving about it, would naturally choose to watch. But I heard that this movie was really good, so I thought I just have to see it. And I'm so glad that I did. What Zach Cregger does so well in this film is that he's able to take this very tragic and hard to watch subject matter, but he presents it in a mainstream, very accessible fashion that's easy to get you wrapped up in the story without feeling depressed. This is really aided by the movie being really funny. This movie's got a lot of really solid jokes, and I laughed several times. And if you haven't seen this movie, let me say this, you are not ready for Aunt Gladys. The most sick, crazy character in this entire movie. One of my favourite characters of the year, yet I would never want to be around her. Amy Madigan does such a good job playing this very creepy character. Please, Oscars, let her just take the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Josh Brolin does an excellent job selling you into him being this very troubled parent, and Julia Gardner does a fantastic job at being the person who's being put to blame for something that she wasn't involved in. I really bought into her character, and I love the chemistry that she had with Josh Brolin's character. And the kid who plays Alex, the kid who doesn't go missing, Carrie Christopher, mark my words, he has got a really bright future ahead of him. I loved this film. I was locked in from beginning to end. I never wanted to once turn it off. I was just having fun with this movie. And I'm so shocked that I could say that about a missing kids movie, but that's just how good this movie is. Now we're here. My number one favourite movie of the entire year. Now, I'll be real, you can make a solid argument that a couple of the films lower on this list are better films, and I wouldn't necessarily challenge you. But when picking the number one, I go for the movie that just gave me the feels, the movie that just made me happy, the movie that I had so much fun with watching. I gave this movie an A+ when it came out. I'll say it, this movie isn't perfect. I'm not one of those critics who only reserves my top grade for the movie that's absolutely perfect and doesn't have a single flaw in it. I give my A+ ratings for the movies that just make me happy, the movies that do everything they needed to do, and they do it so very well. They may have a couple of imperfections here and there, but those imperfections are part of the movie's charm. And I'd say that's very much the case for my number one. So it's about time I reveal it. I've been building this up a lot. My number one favourite movie of 2025 is... If you've been following me or know me in real life, you knew it would be Superman. This is the movie that I saw in theaters. I just had so much fun with it. I loved every second of this movie. David Corenswet was fantastic in the role of Superman. Nicholas Hoult was just brilliant as Lex Luthor. I couldn't really talk about this in my review as I consider this a spoiler, but their standoff moment, wow, what a powerful speech.
That is where you've always been wrong about me, Lex. I'm as human as anyone. I love, I get scared. I wake up every morning and despite not knowing what to do, I put one foot in front of the other and I try to make the best choices I can. I screw up all the time. But that is being human. And that's my greatest strength.
I love what they did with Superman here. I love James Gunn's very earnest take on this character, making him this imperfect human being who may be all powerful but constantly screws up, and he's always trying to be better. I loved the spirit of this movie. I'm well aware that many people thought that this movie was a bit overstuffed, and I don't really view that as a negative, as this movie was setting up an entire cinematic universe to just get you transported into the cinematic universe, get an idea of what it feels like. I'm well aware that there are some comic book purists who are pretty unhappy with the law change they gave to Superman's parents. I get why you might be cranky at that, but I love the way it was used to show the true meaning of family, to show what Ma and Pa Kent did for Superman and what they mean for him. I love the characterizations that they were given and their importance. I loved all the supporting characters. Metamorpho, fantastic character. Mr. Terrific, he was a blast to be around. Guy Gardner, he was just such a fun, arrogant character. And Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, wow. She and David just have perfect chemistry together in these roles. I fully bought into this relationship. And I love the look that James Gunn went for here, making this film the most comic booky movie since Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I just cannot stress to you how much I loved James Gunn's Superman. And I would just be lying to you if I said there was another movie this year that I liked more. Thank you so much for supporting me this year, watching my channel this year. It really does mean something to me. Thank you for all your support.